In the shadowed whispers of the red earth, ancient tales unfold. Here the spirits of warriors past and present merge, telling stories of bravery, fear, and the sacred dance with darkness. Join us as we traverse the forgotten paths where the echoes of their battles linger, tales from warriors from across Turtle Island, and the ventures of the High Council Guardians. This is Tales from the Red Earth. Tonight's tale begins under the starlit sky of the Four Corners, where the winds carry secrets through the canyons and caves. Our story is not for the faint of heart. It's a journey into the depths of fear and courage, as my squad and I were summoned to confront not just one, but a gathering of beings known as Skinwalkers, shapeshifters steeped in the darkest of occult practices, and hopefully their masters. These caves, etched into the very bones of the earth, held whispers of a chilling pact, and it was our task to ensure that no more echoes of terror would escape their death-stained lips. So gather close and listen to the howl of the wild, the crack of the twigs, and the heartbeat of the warrior as we walk the path where few dare to tread. Our old pickup trucks rattled along the dusty trail leading to the mouth of the canyon. The air grew thick, not just with dust, but with a palpable tension that you could almost breathe in. Our headlights pierced the twilight, casting long shadows that seemed to flicker and whisper among themselves, as if warning us back. But forward was the only way we knew. We parked in a clearing, the engine's growls fading into the eerie silence that blanketed the area. The only sounds were our feet crunching on dried sandstone stucco and the distant calls of coyotes, perhaps mocking our intrusion, or perhaps warning us of what lay ahead. I remember tightening my grip on the gear I carried. A small buck knife and an arm shield was all I had beyond my fists. It was the way of a young warrior to earn his weapons and learn how to fight close range before being gifted with weapons that had any sort of reach. Each of us in the squad was trained on the lore, the power of the Skinwalker, and the risks of confronting such entities. These were not mere tales to scare children. They were real, potent, and deadly. I had only 2 years of official training as a guardian, only 15 years old at the time. But I had experienced my fair share of combat already, just not anything close to my ancestral home and ancestral enemy. We approached the cave's entrance, a gaping maw in the earth's crust that seemed to breathe a cooler, mustier air. I led the way, blade in one hand, arm shield in the other, reciting a quiet prayer passed down by my teachers. We walked in formation. I was the point, and we had 5 others spread out. I couldn't even see the others as they spread into the darkness. A single warrior in the center held a torch to give any hint of light, but not enough to reveal us all. The light from a single torch danced on the ancient rock walls, throwing eerie, distorted shadows that made it look as though the walls themselves were moving. Suddenly, a chill swept through the cavern. The temperature dropped, and our breaths became visible in the faint torchlight. It was a sign, clear as the desert stars. Something was here with us, something worse than those damn Skinwalkers. We moved deeper, the air growing ever colder, the cave narrower, bringing my fellow warriors back into the light. Just then, a sound, soft, almost mist amidst the sound of our cautious steps. A low growl, not of any beast known to man, echoed through the labyrinth of stone. It was met by a chorus of similar growls, surrounding us and an auditory assault. There was no mistaking what we were up against.
"Circle up,"
I whispered, my voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. I was in charge of this mission. Its success was dependent on my decisions. We formed a tight circle, backs together, eyes scanning the oppressive blackness that seemed to press in on us. One of my comrades, an experienced tracker, nodded towards a narrower passage.
"They're hurting us,"
he muttered. And he was right. Those damn witches weren't just lurking. They were strategic, using the cave's pathways to maneuver us where they wanted. But why? Surely they should have attacked by now. Surely they heard us coming and ran if they didn't want to fight. What were they up to? As the growls grew louder, shifting into more deathly human tones and a sickening song, the walls of the cave seemed to close in, pressing against our resolve. A light flickered as if to warn us of the waning safety with each step forward. The shadows grew longer, twisted into shapes that defied the natural laws of light. Every so often, a silhouette would dart just beyond the beam of our vision, too quick to be seen, too present to be ignored. The passage twisted downward, leading us into the bowels of the earth. The air turned down, and the smell of decay mingled with the dry desert dust we had stirred up in our descent. It was here, in this constricted space, where the echoes of our footsteps seemed to be swallowed by the darkness. Then we heard it, a whisper, not in words, but in sibilant hissing that seemed to come from the very walls.
"Jaskinsa, Shasti, Milarik Sepa."
My heart raced. I recognized the tone. A warning, a challenge in the language of the ancient devils, spoken only by high-ranking beings, and toxic to anything else.
"They know we're here, and they're speaking directly to us. Plan your next moves carefully, young one,"
my teacher cautioned. The path opened to a larger chamber, where the air felt charged, electric, pressure enough to make your blood stop cold. Our light settled on the far wall, where paintings older than memory adorned the rock. Depictions of battles, of shapeshifters, of rituals written in the blood, red pigment of the earth. It was a sacred place, a chamber of stories, and they had intruded upon it, tainted it. We barely had time to absorb the gravity of where we stood when the first visible sign appeared. A figure, cloaked in the shadows, eyes glowing faintly with an unearthly light, stepped into the perimeter of our lights. It stood there, watching, measuring. Its presence were both a threat and a fascination, an embodiment of the hallowed legends, terrifyingly real. Then from behind, another figure emerged, and then another. We were surrounded, not just by the physical beings, but by the weight of centuries of lore, of fear, and of disrespectful malice. They circled slowly, the crackle of their movements blending with the chant that seemed to rise from the very earth, shape-shifting, as if they couldn't control their lust for power, excited to see us venture so far inside of their den. There had to be a leader. Which one was it? I doubt these half-humans, half-demons could muster this much organization. Drawing from every tale I had been told, I took a step forward, blade held tight. "Esta, Shaludspinskaga, Stinsase." The tension seemed to hang up in the air, palpable and thick, until slowly, one of the figures stepped back, then another. A new shadow emerged from the deeper darkness of the cave, a figure more chilling than any tale had prepared me for. Now known as Bony Eagle, this being was the element of agonies. half human and half fiend, with skin stretched taut over a skeletal frame, and wings crafted from bare, grotesque bones, wielding weapons made of the spinal columns of his fallen enemies. His eyes glinted with a malicious dead light as he stepped into the circle of our torch. With a sinister laugh that echoed off the walls, Bony Eagle pointed a decayed finger at me.
So the warriors of the surface dare to tread where only shadows reign. Do you have the courage to face the darkness you seek? Or will you flee like the others before you, Guardian?
I tightened my grip on my buck knife, my other arm raised behind the shield that had protected me in the past. Before I could step forward to meet his challenge, a sharp warning call from one of the Skinwalkers pierced the air. In that moment, figures emerged from the surrounding passages. My squad, the ones that I had positioned outside the other entrances to the lair. They began their ambush from the shadows, their presence a calculated surprise, not just for Bony Eagle, but for all who lurked with him. Bony Eagle's laugh turned to a snarl as he realized the tables had turned. With a chilling screech, he spread his grotesque wings and retreated into the deeper shadows, disappearing from sight as our group closed in. The cave erupted into chaos, Skinwalkers clashing against my squad. The fight was fierce. The sound of metal and cries filled the air as we fought our way through the vermin. Amidst the fray, we discovered the grim sight. Bodies, grave robbed from a nearby cemetery, used in unspeakable rituals. Their skins stretched out like hides of a freshly hunted game. Bones and stone pottery. Their hair was knotted around the skulls and entrails of their old bodies. The sacred ground was desecrated, and our mission then became clear. We cleansed the site. With ceremonies and prayers, we attempted to restore peace to those disturbed grounds, our hearts heavy with the reality of what we had encountered. As we left the caves, the first light of dawn painted the horizon, a reminder that this battle was over, but the war against such ancient evils was just beginning. I was back home, alive, strong, and ready to finally push back. Bony Eagle had escaped, and the knowledge that such a being was still at large weighed on us all. This encounter was not the end. It was a haunting promise of what was to come, and we knew our paths would cross with his again. This encounter is a stark reminder that our mission is far from over. There are forces out there that defy understanding, waiting in the silent places of the world. Join us as we continue our journey on Tales from the Red Earth, where each step takes us deeper into the unknown. Subscribe, stay alert, and stand with us as we uncover the mysteries that await in the darkness. Remember, in the fight between light and shadow, every story matters, every battle counts, and your support gives us the strength to face whatever comes next. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep the fires of courage burning. We are few of many, one story of thousands. Let us hear yours.